hey, Patreon is Mouth, Olympus Reptiles. And I know last video we did, I flipped it around and let Kurt kind of talk a little bit on the Patreon video. And so I wanted to kind of change that back up. And then he did this video. I wanted to talk on the Patreon. And I know I mentioned last time kind of in jest, if you want to be successful, get yourself a Kurt. But it's not really a joke. And I tell you guys how important you are to me all the time and that you make Olympus go. But let me tell you, even though you see more of me, I couldn't do this without the people who support me. And that is definitely, camera guy Kurt. Not just for the camera work. Tail in there. I'm going to play with dead rats while I say something sentimental because I just like the odd juxtaposition. But there's so much work in this hobby when you get to the size that we are. Probably more than I ever realized, especially with the filming and everything else too. And he does so many hours of rat work in here. And I literally have a freezer full of rats, so if we hit a lean time, and this is why it's important to have a back stock. If our rats were to shut down breeding, or if we got a sickness we had to cull out or something like that, I could literally go probably 4 or 5 months on what's in my freezer for my adults anyway. So having that back stock is amazing, and he literally breeds these and supplies the whole area. We're able now to supply the frozen thawed to most people in our area, buying one at a time anyway, usually, and people prefer that. So all that work that goes into it, we see the baby snakes come out, and that's when I get excited, and that's what I show. And I know he loves it, and I don't know why. And for some of you other people that breed rats, I'll be honest, I don't get it. They're amazing creatures, but I just don't get the joy. They smell horrible, they drink a lot, and they shit constantly. It's like having, 800 toddlers in here that don't interact with you as much. Get in there. But without that grunt work, I gotta show you. He's a fucking shit.
I think I grabbed the wrong bags. I think I usually use the bigger ones.
I just thought that was funny how I stuck him in there. Anyway,
I can get you.
No, he's fine. I just put him in there funny. Without that grunt work, Olympus wouldn't go. I mean, when you're feeding as many snakes as I'm feeding, if I was buying even frozen thawed or at wholesale from somewhere, and I was spending $2 a rat, let's say, and I'm feeding 80 snakes that are going to eat every week, that's $160. That's $320. That's $640 a month, and then you can just blow that up exponentially when we have babies. I couldn't do this. So sometimes I feel bad, truth be told, because I know that we do a lot of YouTube videos, and I end up kind of being the face. But the face, it's not as important as the body, and the face doesn't do anything if the heart's not working and the lungs aren't working, and the kidneys that filter all this rat shit aren't working. So when I say get yourself a Kurt, I mean it. And for some people that may be their spouse or their loved one, or maybe you have the time to do both. It depends on the situation you're in, and if you do, that's awesome. I know I couldn't keep up with it, but it is such a big part of what makes Olympus successful, and it's the unsung part. So sometimes I want to take a few minutes. I'll spend my 5 or 10 minutes I get to spend with people praising the folks that don't always get the praise. It also, in his defense though, he doesn't get the hate. Nobody's going on there and saying, I hate you, you fat ass, I hope you die to Kurt, like they do me all the time, or other shit. But he also would be a much nicer in his comments back and probably like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I'm like, well, I'm only fat 'cause your mother cooks good when I fuck her. But anyway, I guess that's what I do. And he gets like, oh my god, appalled. But I guess what I'm saying is, find your own Kurt, and it does two things. One, it shares the workload, especially if they love a part like he does here, and I love a part like I do with the snakes. And if you do it right, and you're open and you're honest with each other, and you don't hide shit from each other, and it's like a weird marriage, not to sound gay or anything, although if you are gay, it's fine. But there's so much trust that has to go back and forth. But it makes an awesome friendship, and it makes this job so much more fun because you got somebody to share those successes with. Because I'll be honest, Question Girl likes what I do, but she is not nearly as excited when I hatch something cool as Kurt is. And she does not nearly as excited about, hey, we produced so many rats this week when Kurt does that as I am. Because, they're just, I'm sure his wife is kind of the same way. She's like, oh, that's great, dear. Yeah, and they'll both help us, but they don't share that same passion. and that's okay. But if you have somebody to share that with, it makes the shitty days better too, right? And it makes the good days better. So make sure and find yourself somebody to share with if you can, and to take on that workload. And God, if they love doing rat work, it's like winning the fucking lottery, because Kurt really is my winning lottery ticket on that. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week.